Welcome to the Product Coalition. This is a fireside chat and my name is Jay Stansel. Today we're going past chat and files into something much, much bigger. We're going to be talking about intelligent workspaces that actually really work for teams. My guest is Sukhmani Lamba, Senior Product Manager over at Microsoft. She leads agent experiences inside teams, treating AI not just as a feature but as a virtual teammate. She's also a keynote speaker, a patent inventor, and an active mentor in the AI developer community with stints building ML products at Wayfair and platform extensibility across bots, message extensions, adaptive cards, and Loop. So if you care about how work gets done in 2026 and beyond, the next 15 minutes of conversation is all for you. Sukhmani, welcome to the Product Coalition. I'm really excited for the next quick 15-minute fireside chat.
Thank you so much, Jay. Thank you for having me.
A pleasure. This is an important conversation, not just for me, but for everyone. We're all changing the way we've been working the last few years. We've all got either AI tools in front of us or on the side of what we're doing day by day or hour by hour. So I'm really excited to see where we go with this conversation and what the future of working not only with our teammates, but also with AI might look like. So could you get us going with just a little bit of an origin story for me? Now, what problem are you and the Microsoft Teams AI group, focusing on right now? What can you share with the audience?
Absolutely. So I'll, do some context setting for Microsoft Teams and where we started out with our platform, right? So Microsoft Teams launched in 2017. And at the time, this platform team was set up. The goal of the platform team is basically to acknowledge that while users collaborate through chats, channels, and meetings, that is not the full boundary of the work that they have to do, right? There might be like a document that you need to go sign outside of Teams, a ticket you need to approve, a bug you need to create, etc. And so it's acknowledging that there are these workflows that happen that take users outside of Teams, disrupting their kind of usual workflow. And the problem that we as platform try to solve is how can users stay in the flow of conversation and finish their tasks all from within Teams? That's the Uber kind of goal that we work on. So when we launched bots in 2017, they were very well received. They bring tens of millions of MAU for the platform. Over time, we realized that these bots are command driven, right? There's a syntax. You have to speak to a certain bot in a certain way. It's exactly like a function. And that's kind of tedious and cumbersome for a user to learn. When LLMs came around in 2022, that changed everything because now people are expecting to talk to these like you're talking to like a human coworker, right? So I think that's kind of been this massive shift where we're like, okay, earlier we used to talk APIs, we used to talk about like workflows inside of Teams, structured task completion. Now it's how can you talk to these things in natural language and complete your flow of work? That is the problem that we're kind of focused on, driving this massive shift in how collaboration happens.
Fantastic. The natural language driving everything is, I appreciate for many companies, this Uber goal, the idea of having that virtual assistant on your machine that you can just talk to freely. When it comes to the modern workspace with AI agents, where are you finding the limitations and where are you really celebrating incredible new things you've delivered over the last 12 months?
Absolutely. So there's a lot, by the way, that's like cause for celebration in the last few months. I'll start there and then I'll talk about what challenges we're facing and where we plan to go from here. So a couple of the big things that we've shipped, they're either in public preview or we've GA'd them, are these two Microsoft flagship agents, Teams agents, called the Channel Agent and the Meetings Agent, right? And this is kind of our first foray into understanding what are the core workflows that people come to Teams for, and are we embedding AI agents, to be clear, in the right way across these workflows. So very first thing is when you're working in Teams, you're typically collaborating around a project. Most people are there because they're working on one or more projects together. And when you have a project, you have a project manager. It's kind of the glue, stitching all of that together. And so channel agent is basically think of it as like a virtual product manager that's sitting in, you can bring it to every chat channel meeting that you're working in. It's going to sit there, it's going to grasp context, missed timelines, progress updates, assigning tasks, etc. It's going to do all of that for you. So that's Channel Agent, and it's being very well received. We've actually just rolled it out to public preview recently. So for any Teams users out there, if your organization is AI first, you probably have a chance to try that out. The other one is Meeting Agent, which actually is, I think, my favorite, Microsoft AI offering. So Meeting Agent actually sits in every meeting and will summarize meetings for you live. And it's actionable because, I've joined a meeting 10 minutes late and I've said, where was I at mentioned? Or what are the concerns that people are raising around this topic? And as the meeting is happening, I can talk to this meeting agent and it'll summarize stuff for me. Or I can be like, how do I package this information better? What do you think I've not communicated so far? What's not landing? So it's very, very intelligent in that way. I think these two agents are what we've launched. They're doing really, really well. I actually directly led, platform strategy for both of these agents. The next, step in this vision is how do we expand this as a broader market offering? So, if tomorrow any of our partners think any project management offering out there, there's a million tools, Monday.com, Asana, etc., and they said, we want to build an agent for Teams. What does that look like? How do we build that platform? How do people engage with them? How do they hire these agents? Do they hire them? Is there licensing in that flow? Do these agents sit in my org chart and report to me when I hire them? Can I transfer their ownership over to someone else when I leave? Can I rewrite their memories? So there's everything that we know about human users. It's like, does this translate directly to a digital worker or not? So it's really platformizing this, collaborative agent vision.
Can I ask, are those agent assistants mindful of everything else going on in the organization? Or are they just mindful of you and your context and just generating words based upon what they know about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So Copilot is that vision for like your personal assistant across Microsoft, right? So Copilot, for those that use it today, it is actually grounded in the context of all of your chats, channels, meetings, files, where you sit in the org chart, that kind of intelligence. So that's your personal assistant. These agents that we're thinking of in Teams is acknowledging that your work in Teams is collaborative. And so that's where this, platform vision is focused.
Okay. Do you foresee a world where human colleagues could engage with your agent should you not be around?
Yes, absolutely. And that, I think that's kind of, you touched on it. That's kind of the meat of the problem to solve, right? Is like, if I have someone on my team and I am away on vacation, I can entrust that team member to disseminate the right information. Or, if I'm like, hey, let's not talk about our slip deadlines just yet. Let's see if we can fix this. I can expect the human to have judgment. One of the things that we have to acknowledge with LLMs, the way that they stand today, is that same judgment that I can expect from a human coworker is still coming up. You can kind of direct it what to do, but there's just some expectations. Like, Jay, if I'm working with you on something, I just know that you will know what to share where. An agent, maybe I have to explicitly command it and tell it what to do, right? So that's the challenge that we're struggling with right now. And those are the questions that we're asking is like, does the agent have to be everywhere that their manager is? Does the manager kind of have to be controlling with checking every message that's posted with a fine-tooth comb? That's
okay.
In the future, I hope there is a world. Today, we'll see.
We'll see. One of the things with agents and generative AI is that it's always very positive, which is great if you're in doubt or you're having a
Mhm.
bad day. But sometimes we need those coaching angles. You mentioned earlier around the idea of tapping into your agent to see if something landed.
Yeah.
Do you see a world where the agents are also able to be critical of you and be able to give you good rationale of how you could improve as a colleague to the organization?
Hmm. I do see that that is actually possible with AI today, right? But I think you're exactly right. I recall there was one specific OpenAI model that, in particular was being called out for its like sycophancy and in the way that maybe it was deliberately or not deliberately programmed. So that is definitely a thing with AI. Like it's programmed to, be like to agree in a way with what you're saying and your chain of thought and kind of reiterate that. But I think if you really want to take advantage of AI, you have to be very explicit in asking it to critique. So um, think like when I put together like a spec document, I'm like, hey, if I were to present this to the VP of product at Teams, how would he critique it? If I were to bring it to an ecosystem partner who's maybe building a competitor product, what would they have to say about this, and how can I build those counter arguments? So you can absolutely use it for critiquing, but it's not the way that it's inherently going to respond to you, right? You need to set that up.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to go over to privacy next, because when we talk about AI agents and what they've got access to, when I think about CFOs or HR teams, they're two obvious use cases where privacy is absolutely critical. They don't want the
Mhm.
whole organization necessarily knowing everything that's on the P&L right now or recent HR issues. Um,
Yeah.
what unique abilities do you have to consider over at Teams, knowing how broadly used your product is? I mean, Teams used in probably every industry in the world in one company or another. So, like, how do you have to consider privacy when it comes to the agent design that you're working through?
Yeah. So in the enterprise AI world, I think Microsoft is kind of one of the pioneers. Like in the enterprise software industry, it's always been, and now those products have AI. So one of the big things that we have to design every product that we build for is the security and privacy and compliance angle in mind. And the way that this takes shape for AI agents and chat data and files, etc., is giving the right tools for governance to these same roles that you talked about. So it's the admins, it's the users. It's giving them the right tools to govern them, to also observe how these agents are behaving. So Jay, think that you're like a manager for one of these agents, and you assign it a task, right? You don't hear back for 2 days, let's say. You've given it like a long running task to complete. You want to be able to go in and see exactly where the agent is. And if it's stuck in a certain place and it's completely derailed off the task that you've given it, you want to be able to trace back and see, well, what is everything that you did? Wait, did you actually pay for the tickets? Things like that. Like you just want to have that observability. So that is at the core of everything that we're building with agents, is like, how can people observe and manage them and track them?
Understood. Understood. Right. I'm keen to finish up next, Sukhmani, with what is really interesting going on right now. Like, I'd love to hear what are some incredible, interesting examples of how you may have discovered how AI agents are being used in the workplaces you're exposed to.
Oh goodness. So I think I already, mentioned the two that are ready. They're actually fresh off the press to try out right now, Channel Agent and Meeting Agent, which I'm using every day. A product that you've built is impactful when you're actually using it in your flow of work every day. You're not just talking about it outside. So there's definitely that. And then I actually stumbled upon something the other day. So in our planner app inside of Teams, that's kind of where we do our backlog tracking, right? So it's like what every PM is working on, where in, what's the progress, etc. So the other day we were setting up a like a new item, and we said, hey, somebody needs to be thinking about this in CY26, and we said, who should we give it to? And something pops up there and says, assign this to planner agent. right? Like, do you want to assign this to planner agent? And so I was like, okay, that was interesting. So we assigned it to planner agent, and it asks you for a one-line description and a title, and that is it. And it comes up within seconds with a one pager for exactly the work that needs to happen, line by line. And it's searched through like all of the, its understanding of the space that we operate in, the chats, channels, meetings, files, etc. So it was quickly able to reason over all of that and come up with that list, which I think is faster than anybody else that we would have, assigned it to, any human worker. That was wonderful. And it was so accurate. It was so precise. That was a serendipitous moment, I think.
Okay, I'm going to finish up lastly on a more personal note. You're working at the frontier of AI around the world, but at a personal level, how are you using AI? What's on your phone right now? What could you not live without? And when it comes to just day-to-day life and AI?
Oh my gosh. So this is really funny. I woke up one night to my heat not working, and it's getting pretty cold in Seattle now. And I was like, there's no way. I had an important, presentation the next day. I get up, I'm like, what do I do? I'm cold, I pull out my phone in that moment, and I'm like, wait, let me just ask ChatGPT. And I had no buttons. There was nothing on the heat control. It just says on, off, and temperature, nothing else. And so it says, oh, it looks like it's this make, and it could be either model 1 or 2. And it says, try this. I said, this didn't work. It says, okay, it's model 2. Try a combination of these 2 buttons, wait 3 seconds, and then try this. Worked. Just a picture, and it worked. I fixed my coffee machine. I've diagnosed skin issues. I mean, it's everywhere. Obviously, at work, when I'm crafting something or I'm like critiquing something, it's there. Summaries of everything. I delivered, I did another session a few months ago, and I didn't have the speaker notes with me, right? I'd done the presentation, and I had to repeat the same presentation again. And Perplexity Assistant actually took a transcript and the video of that, my first presentation, and it overlaid it as speaker notes onto a deck that I had for the same presentation. It is just marvelous. Like, it saved me hours and hours of work. So it's everywhere.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, this was a quick fireside chat, and time has absolutely flown by, but I really appreciate you giving us a small chunk of your time, and it's an absolute privilege to hear from someone like yourself working, as I say, at the frontier of artificial intelligence, and really appreciate you sharing with myself as much as with the audience today. So thank you very much, Sukhmani.
Thank you so much, Jay. It's been wonderful. Thanks.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. For those watching in, thank you so much. If you'd like to learn more about Product Coalition, head over to productcoalition.com. You can check out written articles, our community, and the full podcast as well. Until next time, thank you very much.